Oh my god! King! King! Oh! You remember what I said in my last chapter review? You remember what I said? I said, like, I had no idea if King was gonna be able to take down Albion. Like, you remember what I said? Well, King just... He's like, fuck you, Chibi. Fuck you, Chibi. That's what King just did in his chat. Like, holy crap, dude. Like, oh my god. So, Albion just got annihilated. Like, oh my god. Like, King just annihilated Albion like it was nothing. Like, well, it wasn't nothing. Just the way it was done, like, holy crap. Just that chestival, the new form of chestival, his spear, man. That form, the panel. Oh my god, kick ass. Oh my god. Fangasm, internal fangasm when I saw that. Like, oh my god. If you're a King fanboy, you're gonna fangasm in this chapter. Like, seriously. If you love King, and you're a fanboy of King, like, King is my second favorite. Besides Escanor. Escanor, I don't really have a ranking for Escanor right now until I get to see his fight in the next, side chapter. But Bond and King are my, favorite male characters. And so, to see King, man, whoa, just like, that shit was just like, whoa. So, King's pretty strong, like, really, really damn strong. So, King was, like, very serious in the, Hindi versus, the Seven Deadly Sins of the Kingdom. And if, you just pushed, if King was full power and kind of pushed, King would have destroyed Hendrickson. So, damn. That just goes to show you how strong King is. Like, my god. So, this chapter of Taizai. A very simple chapter because I pretty much predicted what slightly was going to happen in this chapter. Like in my last chapter review, I said that the fairies are probably going to acknowledge King because he's sitting there fighting for them in the forest against Albion. I mean, it's obvious that's the way it was going to go. And the fairies finally acknowledge King as their fairy king. So, very good, very happy to see that. But there's a lot of questions we could take once again out of this chapter. So, Giard. Actually, before I go further, Giard, I want to clarify something real quick. So, a bunch of Chibits last week in the comments section, they said that, isn't Giard a girl? Now, I know that Giard looks like a girl, and you can assume Giard is a girl, but I don't know if Giard has been clarified as a guy or a girl. Like, I read Manga Stream. I haven't read Red Hawk Scans in quite a while, because Manga Stream's been translating Seven Deadly Sins every Monday, and Red Hawk Scans translates it in the middle of Tuesday, so yeah, I haven't been reading Red Hawk Scans, so I don't know if they've clarified if Giard is a girl in Red Hawk Scans or not, but I've been reading Manga Stream, and Manga Stream really hasn't clarified if Giard is a girl or a guy. So, I'm assuming at the moment, since Giard sounds like a dude's name, I'm saying a guy. So, let's face it, okay? Let's look at anime and manga. There's a bunch of anime and manga, and you can't tell if it's a girl or a guy. There's a lot of characters. Taizai also has a character like that. Galther, for instance. Everybody, the entire fan base of Taizai thought Galther was a freaking girl when they first saw him introduced. Let's be real here. Everybody probably thought he was a girl. And so, Giard at the moment, I don't know if it's a guy or girl, so I'm just going to call Giard a guy at the moment, okay? And if there is a chapter that clarifies it, please point it out in the comments below, Chiefs. I will gladly correct myself in the next review. So, anyways, let's get back on topic. So, Giard in this chapter, Giard seemed like he didn't know that Albion was there. And remember what I said in my last review? I said, like, there's only a couple ways to get inside the fairy forest. As we know, the only way to be allowed into the fairy forest is if the fairy king allows you to enter. And that would be Bond. And we know Bond wouldn't allow Albion to come in there and threaten Elaine's body and cut the freaking tree in half like it did in this chapter. No, Bond wouldn't do that. And we know King, oh no, King, no. He's the last character I would see doing something like that in the entire series. So King, that's out of question. So what other character could possibly allow someone to get into the fairy forest? The advisor, the fairy king's advisor, Giard. But Giard in this chapter seemed very distant or very shocked to see Albion. Like what the hell is this thing doing here? That's what Giard was acting like. So we don't know how to take this. Like, I don't know how to take this because either A, Giard is putting on a face and just acting like he doesn't know that Albion was there. Or B, he didn't know and someone else allowed Albion inside the forest, because we have to wonder, how did Albion get in the forest? The only way to get into the forest is if someone allows you in, one of the Fairy Kings, or probably the advisor. It's not clarified if an advisor can do it, but I'm assuming since the advisor can use some form of roots and stuff that's connected to the fairy tree. So that's what I'm assuming. So, I don't know. Still, Jord is very shady, and there's not much more else I can really dive into when it comes to that part, because still the same information we had to begin with, besides finding out this reaction of how Jord looked at Albion. So, one thing I will say, with the chapter, it's very straight to the point. You have it to where King is getting accepted and acknowledged by all of his fairies, and they're saying like, oh, we understand now you're not, you know, selfish and all that, you're trying to help us, and, you know, you're sacrificing yourself for all of us, and like, let us do it for you and protect you and stuff like that. And you get to see how the fairy race in general gets some form of character development, because you have to where Hellbrom, in the act of when, you know, King is being dragged away by Jord, you have to where Hellbrom is talking and narrating to King and say, like, you should be more selfish as a king. You should be a lot more selfish, and you should, you know, worry about yourself a lot more. And you also helped us as the fairy race realize, you know, how, you know, what type of cowards we are, and we need to be a lot more courageous and stuff like that. So in this chapter, the fairy race has now become more united, and along with being more courageous. So yeah, it was a really good chapter to demonstrate that. Now, one thing I have to say I liked was King's little speech in this chapter. Like, oh my god, when King's getting dragged off and all that, he's like, no, I am a selfish king and all that, and I'll protect them, I'll protect everyone. I love that shit. Oh my god, dude. I really love seeing that speech from King in this chapter when he just turns Chastifold and attacks Albion. Yo. Hype. Just so hype. So, yeah. That's the chapter. Actually, one more thing I do want to mention. The chapter title of next week's chapter is called 10 Commandments Activate. Yeah, that's the chapter title of next week's chapter. 10 Commandments Activate. So, obviously the 10 Commandments are going to be in the chapter. I mean, it's very obvious, but 10 Commandments Activate. I don't know how to take that. Does that mean that they're going to activate their full power or something? Or are they activating a seal? I mean, no idea. So, just next chapter sounds very good. It sounds really good. Can't wait to see how next chapter of Taizai is. So, yeah, that's pretty much this chapter. So, tell me your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.